mentioned Terence Crawford, but you didn't bring up Manny Pacquiao. Why not? He just beat Keith Thurman. I just have to get your whole.
No, Manny Pacquiao is 100% one of the best welterweights in the world, and actually I must have just left him out by accident, because Manny Pacquiao, I was so happy when he beat Keith Thurman. If I had to say though, if I had to put him against Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, I would still give those two the slight edge over him. You know, I think Keith Thurman was the perfect styles matchup and the perfect timing for Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career to fight. And it was a huge legacy fight, and not taking anything away from him, because it was straight up legendary what he did. But Al Heyman's also a very smart guy, and put him in with the perfect guy in the welterweight division at that time. Now Manny Pacquiao's star power is as high as it's ever been, and that sets him up to have maybe one more huge fight against Errol Spence, you know, and I doubt he fights Terence Crawford, obviously for political reasons, but I think he'll fight the winner of Sean Porter and Errol Spence. If he loses that fight, I think he'll retire, and he might even retire if he wins that fight.
Does Keith Thurman have a chance to get back with these guys, even though you said it was a style matchup?
Yeah.
You think it's possible that he can come back and compete against a Terence Crawford or Errol Spence?
Yeah, definitely. I think he can come back and compete with him. You know, do I think he beats Errol Spence? No, I don't think he beats Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence's body attack is too much for him. I think that his stamina is too much for him at this point. And Terence Crawford, when we're talking about style matchups, I think he'd still lose to Terence Crawford too at this point. Now, like, all you can do is go off somebody's last performance. So the Keith Thurman that came in against Manny Pacquiao, I think he loses to Terence and Errol right now, for different reasons, because it's two different fighters and two different styles. But you got, all right, man, see you later. But you got them coming in, and if you got Keith Thurman after that fight, is a little bit sharper from just a little bit more activity. He had a layoff, comes in, improves his game, maybe does some things different technically and works on some things, comes in and kind of reaches his prime again. Because to me, I think prime Keith Thurman was the one who beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. I think honestly he's half or a shell of himself that he was back then. And like I said, that's why I think it was the perfect fight for Manny to take at this point, because he's still elite. You know, he hasn't done. No one's proved that he's not elite yet. So Manny Pacquiao came in and just showed him who's boss. You know, but like I said, I think the Keith Thurman who fought Sean and Danny was just a way more live dog. So if he can get back there, and he's got to prove that and get in there with somebody and blow him out, you know, a really good fight like Manny Pacquiao just did, and then he'll be right back to the top. That's one of the things that I think is PBC is doing great. Is like, even if you look at the 154-pound division, you got J-Rock, who lost a fight against Charlo and then comes back and beats Hurd. Now that he beat Hurd, nobody cares that he lost to Charlo. Really, he's the man again, you know. You got everybody. Jamel, yeah, I always get that mixed up. Just lost to Harrison. Harrison had lost to Hurd. You got all these guys losing, but they're all still elite, and they're gonna come back in. All you gotta do is get one big win. I mean, you're only as good as your last fight. That's what fans don't understand, but like, that's one of the things that I feel like the MMA fans understand so much more, because of the dynamic of the way I feel like the Dana Whites of the UFC kind of do everything, which is the approach Al Heyman takes now, or seems like he's always taken since PBC's been around. You know, put the best against the best, and then if they take a loss, put them in there again, and show the fans that just because you take a loss doesn't mean you can't bounce back and be at the very top and have exciting matchups and still be elite. For so long, if you lost a boxing match, like, oh, you're trash. And most of the time, promoters will just, like, if you're in a contract with Top Rank or whoever, like, or any of these promotional companies, you lose a fight, and I've seen it a million times, like, we're releasing you from your contract, you know? That's crazy to me, like, especially if it's a high-level fighter, you know? But, so I think that's a really good approach they're taking nowadays, because Keith Thurman lost, but he's still in a good position. If Sean Porter and Errol Spence lose, one of them lose, who's to say they're not still elite? They fought the very best. That's the good thing about the best fighting the best. They're still up there, you know? Now they just got to come back and get another big win, and they're right back there.
Now with the other welterweights that have lost, but I believe two of them were former champions, and one of them people still dispute to today that he beat Sean Porter. Where do you think Ugas, Danny Garcia, and Kell Brook belong in this mix? Do you think any of those guys have a chance to beat the Errol Spence or the Terence Crawford?
Danny Garcia's got a chance to beat, I feel like, anybody. Like he's a really top fighter. I would give Terence Crawford definitely the edge probably against him, and Errol Spence. But Errol Spence mainly just because Danny Garcia is a little bit smaller. I think the better matchup for him is Danny Garcia versus Terence Crawford because they're both 140 pounders that came up to 147. I feel like they're similar in size, so I think they would be a good fight. But Danny Garcia definitely, you saw what he did with Sean Porter. I mean, that was an amazing fight. You know, like I was rooting for him heavily in that, and I wouldn't say root for him to win, but I wanted him to put the performance on that he did. And he did that, you know. But I was happy Sean Porter got the win against Danny Garcia because I've always, first of all, I really like Sean Porter as a person, and also I really wanted to see Sean get in there with Errol Spence, and now it's coming, so I'm so happy. I was. And
now you're on the card too. Now you
I'm on the
can fight on the card and watch it.
Yeah, when Danny Garcia and Sean Porter fought, I remember rooting for Sean pretty heavy because, and like I said, one of the main reasons was Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. I think that's one of the best matches to be made.